Yes, it's quite a compact film, an hour and a half, I think it was. Um, there's been some sort of event. I can't really remember what they said the event was. I think it's some sort of illness. Anyway, lots of the word that the you see everything at the beginning. This young man, he's scavenging from the remains of the old world, and he's on a bicycle and he's cycling along, and he's on his own. He's like a late teens, teenager, young man.
Yep.
Um, and he's got his house that he's got like this sort of bunker um, that he lives in underground. It's sort of disguised, so no one would know that he lives there. He's growing food, he's scavenging, he's collecting water, and he's basically living completely isolated on his own. Um, and you find out that he was a prepper before the apocalypse. So when the
Mm-hmm.
apocalypse happened, he was ready and waiting.
Yeah.
But he and it says, I think, in one of the taglines is that he was prepared for everything except for loneliness, and he wasn't prepared the fact that he might end up being completely on his own in the after the event. And then so he's something happens, and he ends up deciding to has to leave his home, and he's got other prepper contacts, and he thought, well, I've lost contact with them since the end, so I'm going to see if I can go and find. I think it's his uncle who was also a prepper and has got his sort of in the Appalachians. He's got his own little bunker that he thought, right, I can't. I'm going to see if I can go find my uncle. So he heads off, a couple hundreds of miles to travel there, and as he goes, he encounters a couple of other survivors. One's a young woman, and then there's a group of unpleasant. I could only describe them without being sort of general as without being too the
Jo-
hillbilly in the
okay. Okay.
mad,
Yeah.
incestuous, bit nuts sort of way.
Oh, okay.
It's a film trope, but
So essentially, somebody who's made this film has watched Deliverance.
yes.
Yeah.
So there's like three brothers. Well, I think they're three brothers who who see the end of the world as an opportunity to
Mm.
sort of take advantage of those more vulnerable than themselves. And so they decide to see it as a way of doing what they want and sort of the world. And so yeah, they enter into this sort of conflict with our two other survivors, our young man, and he meets this young woman who is sort of traveling as well. And then all sort of these two groups with their different approaches to what life should be after the end have this conflict. That's it, basically.
All right. Cool.
Not a long
And
review. Long film.
so okay. So how did you think about it? And how many stars would you give this masterpiece? that,
Yes, I
that
would
doesn't
say
look derivative of many other post-apocalyptic things.
Yeah.
I thought in some ways it was they did it very well what they did because it was all stripped back. It was all quite stripped back. So it felt like it was filmed very simply. There's nothing
Hmm.
was too complicated. The actors who they did their job, but you could say it's competent. But you know what? I'd watched it a week ago and I'd more or less forgotten it already.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the best I again, I don't like to be mean. It's like kicking that little puppy who's sleeping there staring at me, because
Yeah.
it's a bit mean, but it's barely okay. I mean, it's one of those films I watched to the end because I wanted to have something to review, which is not glowing praise for any film really.
It's like, well, I've started watching this film now, and because I started watching this film, I've run out of time to watch anything else to review. So I guess I must finish watching this one so I have something to
So this got one
review.
thing, and then I thought if I watch something else, then I can ditch this one. But at least I've got something in the bag. So I'd give it a two because it's okay,
Yeah,
but it
yeah,
doesn't. There's nothing that sets it apart from any number of other films.
yeah. No, I'm looking at the poster. And it does look like someone decided to do like a teenage version of The Road, and and
And you
mix
know
it.
what? If you have a member of like Unlimited, the books on Kindle Unlimited,
Yeah, yeah,
it reminded me like a self-published post-apocalyptic novel.
yeah.
And there's loads of them out there, and you always get them free on Unlimited
that that
because no one would pay to read it. And
Okay, that is brilliant. That is, oh my god! I'm so I have the trailers playing in the background with no sound on, and there's, when even without even hearing the sound, you go, that's some terrible acting.
yeah,
but yeah, but there's loads of these on Amazon Prime. They seem to almost exist exclusively on there. So how many
yeah,
stars are we giving this?
two.
Two stars for After the
Oh,
End.
yeah.
That is the end with that.